last Friday forum was as lit as possible. So let's just get into it. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the final Friday forum of the semester. This one's a little extra special for me because I have the honor of introducing one of the two speakers who I got to work closely with during my summer internship, Jason Goldberg. Jason graduated from the Brand Center in 2017 as an art director and went on to join the team at Eric & Kallman. 3 years later, he is now an associate creative director working on brands such as Disney, Friendly's, and Lucid Motors. Aside from work, Jason and who you're about to meet, Ali, are considering getting an Equinox membership. The thing is, they know it's expensive, but the biggest selling point is wiping off all their sweat with nice aromatic eucalyptus towels and kicking back in the steam room after a long day's work. Now I'll pass it on to Sean, who has the honors of introducing our second speaker.
Howdy, y'all. Also joining us at the forum is Ali Carr, a copywriter along from the class of 2018, who now also works as Eric & Kallman as an associate creative director. Since graduating, she's worked on campaigns for Disney Plus, Jolly Rancher, the United Nations, and my personal favorite, New Belgium Fruit Smash. Outside of work, her and Jason have made it their mission to celebrate a holiday for every day of 2021, today being International Sweater Festival, which you'll hear more from them about shortly. And with that, we'll hand it off to them.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. It's not as intimidating when you guys are all just little boxes on a computer. I hope that this year or last year you guys were able to go to like a big Friday forum in an auditorium, but this is still pretty awesome.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited just to be back in the Brand Center forum vibes.
Yeah, if anyone's got a sweater vest, go run and put it on. I'm going to share my screen here.
Can you guys see that?
We can't see you, so we just need someone to say yes, we can see it.
Yeah.
We can see it. Looks good.
Great. Yep. Okay, great.
Well, we're super excited to be here and talk to you about the power of side projects. There's a lot of pressure to do these while you're at school. We remember you're balancing so much. You've got classes, you've got all your friends, you've got Bob projects. And when it comes to side projects, you got to do them and you want to do something cool, but you also want to focus on the stuff that's going to get you a job, right? Like your spec ads and your Bob projects. But we're here to make an argument that you can get a job from your side projects, and it arguably might be a little more fun.
Yeah, and to those people out there who feel like they're not as visually design heavy, or they're not execution focused. If there's any like CBMs or strategists out there who are like, I can't like use Photoshop and Illustrator or whatever program you can think of, and you don't think that you can do a side project, you're wrong. You can do a side project, and hopefully at the end of this presentation, you'll be inspired and have ideas of really fun ones that you can do.
Yeah. So in fact, we were actually going to name this entire presentation How to Get a Job by Not Doing Your Job, because that's really what a side project is. I mean, it's kind of amazing. In our industry, you can do something that has nothing to do with your job title, and that can actually be the thing that gets you a job. That's like, I don't think there's any other industry where it works like that, at least that I know of. So this also directly applies to me because my second year of Brand Center, I had a really dumb idea for a children's book. It was called Are You My Daddy? It was a story about a woman's exploration of her sexuality and her kind of journey to find a partner. I just thought it was funny. I kind of just came as like a download of a funny spoof on Are You My Mother? And I did not think that this was going to get me a job. I thought it would be really fun to write. So I partnered with one of my good friends, Lynn, and she was like, I want to art direct it. We have to make it. We just have to make it. It's too funny. So we did it. I threw it at the end of my portfolio and was like, oh, I also made this thing. Sure enough, at Brand Center recruiter session, the head of recruiting at Goodby Silverstein and Partners, Zach Canfield, came up to my booth and slapped the table on my booth and said, are you responsible for writing this demented children's book? And I said, yes. And he said, I'm going to give you a job offer for that. And that's actually where I ended up going straight out of school, was to Goodby. And eventually that kind of got me to Eric and Coleman. But yeah, I had no idea, totally unexpected, that a side project could directly translate into a job, but it totally did for me
And we've heard stories like that all the time.
all the time.
I got hired. I mean, sure, like, first of all of your ads and projects are going to be great because you're going to a great school. These side projects are going to be the thing that separate you from your other students. You got hired directly from a side project. I got hired because I decided to learn how to code my own website. So like it's not ads sometimes that get you hired. It's the other little things.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, is you're all good. Every person on this Zoom call is good and more talented than other people that are not here. So you're all going to end up with great projects in your portfolio. The thing that's going to make you stand out and make people want to know who you are is going to be your side projects, where there's no rules and your personality can really shine. So that leads us into really, why do a side project? I mean, of course, it can translate directly into a job, just like I said, but there's tons of other things that side projects can get you that you're probably not even thinking about.
Yeah, like it can get you freelance opportunities while you're in school, but it can also, if you continue doing side projects outside of school, you'd be surprised that small businesses hit you up and are like, hey, we saw that you did this thing online and we want you to write for us or art direct for us or think strategically for us.
Yeah, I mean, freelance becomes a bigger deal probably after you graduate from Brand Center, but when it comes, it's awesome. And it's often has to do with kind of your niche of whatever your side project is about. Someone in that niche will discover it and feel like you might be able to help them, which is really cool. Another awesome thing about it, this might seem lame, but it's not. It's a great conversation starter, and that actually matters at some point, especially after school. Like your friends and family know that you're going to be doing advertising. They think it's cool. They think your ads are cool. But what people really get excited about is your side projects.
Yeah. Another thing, this applies kind of when you're outside of school, your job. It doesn't really matter where you work. We have friends that work at all like the best places. Sometimes your job won't be creatively fulfilling.
It's just the truth.
There's just like slumps sometimes that happen in this business where you'll go a month or two without making anything. And it can feel like a huge bummer. But if you have a side project, you're kind of always making something. You don't have a client, you're your own client. So it's just kind of like lifts your spirits and keeps your like creative drive going.
Yeah, it gives you something in the morning that really lights you up and makes you want to be productive that day, because it's so true. You know, advertising, it's often feast or famine, whether or not you're working on a bunch of projects you're excited about. So your side project is the thing that can kind of always keep you at homeostasis in terms of being creatively fulfilled. That's definitely been the case for us. I mean, given that we've been doing a project for an entire year and work sometimes is like this, up and down, it's really been able to keep us excited creatively every day. Another cool thing about side projects is that it can turn into your job. It might start as a side project, but eventually it might be the thing that you're doing. We know a guy in our kind of community who was just doing really cool visual stuff on the side, like just making really interesting Instagrams that were just like funny visual gags. And he was doing that for a couple years and eventually just started to get picked up by brands. Brands were reaching out, you know, it started to get a lot of traction, and he just made a music video for Drake. So he's completely exited advertising to kind of do this, his like visual kind of style.
And then, I mean, lastly, we have the opportunity to do a Friday forum, which if nothing else, I mean, this makes our side project all worth it.
Because of our side project. I mean, that's definitely why probably Ashley reached out to us, is because we're doing a really big side project and we know a thing or two about how to do it.
Yeah.
So this leads us into the side project that we're doing to prove to you that we know what we're talking about when it comes to side projects. They don't stop after Brand Center unless you want them to, but they don't have to. And this is kind of what we're doing this year. It's called Everyday Holiday. It was born out of the pandemic. So in 2020, all the days were blending together. You guys know that every day felt the exact same, especially here in California, where it looks the same every day too. It was wildly just stagnant. And one of us said, oh, I can't wait until the holidays when there's at least some differentiation between the days, right? There's like, you've got Halloween, you've got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas, Hanukkah, like the days feel different. And then the other one of us was like, I bet there's technically a holiday that you could celebrate every day to make the days feel different. And it just kind of started snowballing. It was just a snowball effect of like, wow, that would actually be a really amazing marathon project where you just celebrate every single day. And it's also a really cool message.
Yeah, especially during like the times that we're in now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had this idea, we're going to celebrate a holiday every single day of 2021. And we had this idea in 2020, in the middle of 2020. It took us 6 months of just planning. So, I mean, the first thing we wanted to do was just kind of set up some rules for us, some guidelines. The first one being, we're going to celebrate each holiday on the day of. There's no pre-celebrating. That didn't feel authentic to us. So like if, National Burger Day is on the 15th, we're not going to celebrate like the weekend before just so we can get that out of the way.
No, everything's on the day of.
Yep.
The second rule is we must post on the day of. So it doesn't matter if we get home at 9 p.m., 1 a.m., it doesn't matter. We got to post on Instagram, which is where this project is kind of living at the moment, before we go to sleep. Hard and fast rule.
Yep. The third rule is no made up holidays. Some of them might feel like made up, but there's no, if we're not feeling it, we can't just be like, all right, it's National Go to Sleep Day.
Or like, I feel like it's going to be drink a cup of water day. None of that. These are all recognized holidays or national holidays or cultural holidays of some kind that are legit.
Yeah, some of them might feel made up. We celebrated earlier in the year National Put a Pillow on Your Fridge Day. And that sounds extremely silly. One of the silliest celebrations we've had.
Mm-hmm.
But there's weirdly like rich history behind some of these holidays. Like that one, for example, started like when America was migrating west and there was a lot of farming going on everywhere. And people would put their linens in their like food storage areas because it would bring luck for the next harvest. And then eventually, throughout the decades, that holiday has evolved to putting a pillow on top of your fridge. So like, yeah, they feel made up, but they're really not.
And then the fourth rule is authentic celebrations only. So that means no weird appropriation stuff. There's a lot of cultural and religious holidays that are on the calendar. And so when it comes to the ones that, we don't want to culturally appropriate, we will find the communities around us that are actually celebrating and either observe, stand back and learn, or participate where necessary.
And then lastly, this project, while it lives on Instagram now, like Instagram just can't tell a whole story. And this should go for any side project you guys are doing. Don't let the medium that you're using like be a hindrance. Like you can express your side project in a bunch of different mediums. So like I don't know if you can see our screen, but like this is the journal that I read in every month. And so every single night we detail, what we did that day. And it's cool to look back on, and it can, because we have this, we can turn this project maybe into a book, or we can pitch the project to like a Netflix or like a long form content platform.
Yeah, it doesn't have to stop, on Instagram, I think is the point. It can live beyond.
Yeah. So we had the ground rules set. And then the last 6 months of 2020, we bought a massive calendar and we filled in every single day a different holiday, our real holiday. We're actually staring at the calendar right now. It's in our office. Let's see if I can. That's what it looks like. It's all beat up now. We cross off the days and we highlight our favorite days.
Make notes on the holidays we want to celebrate. But this is just, there's like 10 to 20 different holidays every single day. So we don't overthink it. We pick the one that's the coolest, most interesting, or the one that feels the most doable, because we have full-time jobs that are very hectic sometimes.
Yeah.
And we don't overthink it, choose it, move on, and celebrate.
And we've made a rule that you can always pivot.
Yeah.
If because we have to celebrate, for example, like Face Your Fears Day, we were going to go skydiving. We had a skydiving trip booked on that day. And that morning there was too high of winds in the area, so it got canceled. We couldn't just do skydiving the day later, whatever. It had to be on that day. So we had to pivot to another holiday. And that happens all the time. It's just like problem solving, I guess.
Yeah, that's totally.
So we filled out this calendar, and then when January 1st hit, we got on our Instagram and started this project.
Yeah, everydayholiday.official is kind of where it's all living right now. Every single day there's something. There's whether it's a food holiday or an animal holiday or a landmark holiday. You guys, we've learned so much weird shit this year and met so many weird people. I mean, great people, but crazy subcultures and communities. And it's been a year truly like no other.
So we'll take you through a few of our favorite celebrations that we've had so far. We're in December, so we're almost done here. So we've got a lot to choose from.
This is one of the holidays from the beginning of the year. It was for World Cancer Day. The World Cancer Day colors are blue and orange. So we emailed San Francisco City Hall, which is a huge building in downtown San Francisco. It's really central to the whole city. And we shot in the dark, asked if they would be willing to light up San Francisco City Hall in blue and orange. And they said yes.
A few days later was National Weather Person's Day. And so a month leading up to this holiday, we would email, 50 different weather people all over the country. No one got back to us until like maybe the day before. A weatherman in Sacramento got back to us and was like, yeah, if you guys want to zoom in, you guys can present the weather live on TV, which was pretty insane.
It was crazy. We like presented like weather people.
Yeah, that was our setup in that picture.
Okay, this next one here is for National Pet Day. We adopted a cat. This was arguably my favorite holiday. She's the best. This was crazy because, I mean, we're celebrating every day on the day, right? So we had to coordinate with the rescue place to be like, no, we have to pick her up on April 14th. And they're like, can you pick her up on this day? And we're like, can't really explain why, but this day is definitely the best for us. So it was just funny trying to coordinate. And I mean, we wanted a cat anyway, so this kind of just worked out.
May 1st is May Day, which celebrates the spring equinox. We found a eco village slash commune in the middle of California, and we tried to RSVP, but it was not like that. There's no technology involved really. We found an event, like a Facebook flyer, and we showed up.
This was like 3 hours away from our house. We show up at this commune where we are total like outsiders.
Yeah, if you guys have seen Midsummer, the A24 movie, it was like that, but not scary. There's no like craziness, no death or crazy drugs. But we like showed up and people were dancing around a maypole. We skinned a goat and made a drum with it. We went foraging for like wild herbs. People were swimming in this little creek.
They were like, all the women had like flower crowns, like real flower crowns made from the local plants. They were so welcoming and so kind. And we became a part of this commune for a day. Like we had a huge feast with the whole commune where they wanted us to come and like, they're come back, and just all in celebration of May Day.
Yes, it was really awesome.
Bad Poetry Day. Oh my God, this one was insane. So we found an open mic night on Bad Poetry Day with there were a lot of people there. There were like 50 people there, and no one else knew that it was Bad Poetry Day except for us. So we got up there at an open mic night and intentionally bombed for bad poetry.
And didn't tell anyone it was Bad Poetry Day. We were just like, we want to feel what it feels like to really do terribly.
It was hysterically funny when each other was going, but also just so embarrassing. It really got us out of our comfort zones.
National Tattoo Day. We had this booked 3 months in advance of this day, and the day before our tattoo artist canceled on us, which was a terrifying text to receive the day before, because it takes a long time to like
Book
these
a
tattoo
tattoo
artists like
appointment.
book up. So we spent that morning of National Tattoo Day driving around San Francisco and San Jose, trying to be like get let in as a walk-in into a tattoo studio, and we got lucky, and we both got tattoos. I got my first tattoo on this day.
This was a cute one. So for Read Across America Day, we built a little free library for a preschool. There was just one we found on Nextdoor in the community who said that they had been looking to have a little free library outside, but they, hadn't been able to raise the funds for it. So for this day, we decided that we were gonna get them a little free library and build it and paint it and stock it with books. And this one is awesome. We drive by the preschool all the time and see it. And it's really sweet.
National Make a Friend Day. During COVID, it is so hard to make friends. So we needed to make this more interesting.
This was gonna be really hard because you can't just like walk up to people. And this was like in the thick of COVID. Too.
Yeah. And so we decided to friend on Facebook and LinkedIn all of the Jason Goldbergs and all of the Ali Carrs, hoping to meet someone with the exact same name as us. Probably each friended like 60 people or something like that. And the night of, we were like, oh my God, we're not gonna be able to celebrate this day. Like 8 p.m., we got a response back from a Jason Goldberg. And then I had to ask him, hey, can we FaceTime? I want to meet you. And he said, yes. And this is the guy we met. His name's Jason Goldberg. He lives in Missouri. He's works in a small town, likes to golf. Is dealing with COVID just like the rest of us. It was crazy.
Totally different life.
Yeah.
A totally different life. That was awesome. None of the Ali Carrs answered, so that didn't work out. But he was so sweet. And now like he follows the project. He comments all the time. He's like totally a part of it. That was so funny. Okay, this one down here in the bottom left corner was for National Public Sleeping Day. We went, we could have easily taken a picnic blanket and just gone and fallen asleep in a park, but we want each day to feel like we really did it as best as we could. So we got a Murphy bed off of Craigslist, like a bed that folds up. There was randomly happened to be a free Murphy bed, like the day of, and we picked it up and we rolled it to this park and we both napped. I think we both actually fell asleep in the park, and it made for some good pictures.
World Bee Day, we contacted like the bee association in our area and got to tour our neighbors who we just met, our neighbors' beehives. She made a whole thing out of it, invited all of her bee friends over. She gave us honey, gave us the suits to wear. It was really, really cool. And I really hate bees, but I hate them a little less after this.
National Play Monopoly Day. This one was like a couple weeks ago. We found out that the Guinness Book of World Records largest Monopoly board in the world is like an hour away from San Francisco or the Bay Area where we live.
Yeah.
And so we bought these like 2 huge inflatable dice on Amazon and just went and brought some friends with us and played Monopoly on the world's largest board. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Although it lasted way too long.
And then lastly, Let's Laugh Day. We contacted a company that's kind of like So Far Sounds, if you guys have heard of that, where they take, they put on comedy shows in different locations every single weekend. And we contacted them. We're like, hey, can you guys throw a stand-up comedy show in our backyard? And they said yes. And so we had like 6 comics and 40 people come in, and
like random,
they set everything up.
Like people bought tickets, to this event in our backyard on Let's Laugh Day.
And they keep hitting us up being like, hey, do you want to host another show?
Yeah.
So that's available to us, which is cool.
Yeah. So you can see like there's always these kind of like restrictions, right? Of like things that might make each day not possible, like Make a Friend Day, but we're always kind of working around all of the problems of COVID and last minute planning to find a way to celebrate. And that's really what I think side projects are about. So this is after we kind of gather all of our favorite celebrations for the month. We usually do like a monthly recap. Sometimes we do weekly recaps too, just to post and kind of have. This is an example. I think this one is from June.
I'm Allie, this is Jason, and we're celebrating a holiday every single day of 2021. Here's our June recap. We wrote letters to prisoners, went up in a hot air balloon, took a woman named Earlene out to dinner, weeded our garden, surprised our garbage man with breakfast, created an everyday holiday mascot, went fishing on Lake Tahoe, dyed Jason's hair pink, and paddled 10 miles upriver. Follow us on TikTok for highlights and on Instagram for daily celebrations. This is Everyday Holiday.
This is our little mascot that we made. We found like a company who makes plush toys. We drew it and then gave them the specs and turned out really well. We made stickers and like that recap said, I dyed my hair pink and it lasted for like a month. And then the pink faded and then I was blonde for 4 months. And then I just got a cut like the day before Thanksgiving because it was all dead. But yeah, so we make those things. But one of the coolest things that's happened during this project is we invite people to celebrate with us and to like send us pictures of them celebrating. And people have friends, not friends, our family members really love it, obviously. So this is just like a cool little side thing to show how like, you know, relatable and how our target audience is kind of everyone.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see people like believe in it and celebrate it. And especially just during COVID when there's like not, sometimes it feels really sad and with all the stuff going on in the world, it's cool, just a cool message of like, there's something to smile about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our project.
So we know about side projects. Trust us, we're doing this marathon of a project, and we did a lot of side projects while we were in school too.
Mhm.
And so we know a few things. We got some tips, tricks, and cures to your side project anxiety, which you probably have and is totally normal.
The first one is just start.
This is so huge.
Yeah, this held me back in Brand Center. I would overthink things. I would plan so hard that I would never even start, and like I would be a perfectionist about things. And I felt like if things weren't perfect, then I shouldn't even do the side project. Then I would talk myself out of doing it. And that's not before me telling people that I'm going to do this side project and then like not doing it and being embarrassed that I told everyone I was going to do this thing. And then I just never did.
Yeah.
So just start.
Get
just,
it on the page. Stop overthinking it.
You can always tweak it and change it while it's happening, but just start and start making something.
Yep. That leads pretty well into this one, which is just stop. So what this means is if you are in the middle of your project or you just started and you're realizing that it's just not what you wanted, it's not coming together, it's not clicking, don't be afraid to just drop it. It doesn't matter. You are not beholden to anything or anyone but yourself. Your side project is supposed to be something that's fun. So if it's not working out, leave it behind.
Yep.
And that's a good reason to just start too, because you can, once you just start, just know you can stop at any time.
It doesn't matter if it's been done before. I know you think that it might, but know that when you do a project and there's something kind of similar online, or you've seen someone do something similar, know that when you do it, it's going to be different because you are a unique person. And that this idea of it's been done before shouldn't stop you from doing the side project that you want to do.
It's going to be like you. It's not going to be like the person who has already made it. I mean, obviously, of course, you don't want to copy, and you are the one, you know what that meter is of if you're just copying an idea. But yeah, if you get that like dreaded text of someone being like, hey, like I've seen your idea, just saw this, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. If you have the idea and you believe in it, it's going to be different because it's going to be yours. This is such a good one. You have talented friends. Everyone that's on this Zoom call, like I said earlier, is talented. These are the people that are going to make your side project come to life, even if you don't know it yet. It might not be your side projects while you're at school even. It might be 5 years later. Like for us, our friend Shifra, who is also a Brand Center grad, is an amazing video editor and director now. And when we started doing the project, she reached out to us and said, I love your project. It's so cool. We have to make video for it. Send me all of your video and your pictures, and I want to make recaps for you. So that recap that we showed earlier, the only reason that we have those is because it was Shifra's idea, and she makes them happen every month. And we were even doing them every week for a while too.
Yeah, so like don't be precious in the sense that like I need to do this side project by myself. Like your peers have something to add.
Yeah.
And it's not any cooler that you did it by yourself. It just never is. Like invite your friends in to help you.
Be
because
vulnerable.
it'll be cool.
Let them see it. And of course, I mean, you already know, but your professors like Berwin, I don't know if Berwin's on the call, but he made some of my side projects at Brand Center be so much better than what they would have been, because he could be a sounding board for me and use those resources. I mean, that's what you're paying for while you're at Brand Center.
Execution isn't everything. So like, this is kind of what we were talking about earlier about like, you don't need to be able to paint or know the programs. That shouldn't stop you from being able to have an awesome side project. One like trick or like tip that I was told a long time ago was a side project can be all about quantity. So if you just do something kind of, a number of times, like 30 times, and then package it with like, just document it with an iPhone, that becomes a side project. So for example, like let's say you love the movie Elf. What about if you watched Elf every single day for a month and documented it and like rated it every single day of like, whether you thought it was good or bad or like whatever.
What new things you
saw, like that's a side project. And you don't need programs or anything to do that.
Yeah, I remember Wayne would always say like, you have an iPhone, you can make a side project, you can make things so much better and cooler than people used to be able to do. Like, yeah, like that's what this idea of a marathon project is. That's what our project is. A really great director in advertising told us that advice before we started. He said, it's not about every day. If you can make every day awesome, that's great. But what it is it's about 3,000 feet in the air. You did something every single day.
Yeah.
That's what makes it cool.
What's the Richmond idea?
Yeah, when we were talking about this tip and talking to you guys, we were thinking of like another example would be Richmond has fantastic restaurants, right? So what if you went to a restaurant in Richmond for every letter of the alphabet from A to Z, you just found one and just documented it. I mean, you don't have to be a creative at all to do that. That's a side project. Find the thing that you already like, that you are going to do anyways, and just make that your side project. You don't even have to try that hard.
Yeah. And it whatever thing you do is going to tell a recruiter kind of your story, like who you are,
what you love.
Yeah. What you love. And they'll get a sense of who you are.
Keep it simple. You guys have probably heard this in every single Friday forum ever. I know we did, but it's always something to remind ourselves.
Yeah. If you're starting a project, whether it's a side project or a new campaign or whatever, always put it through this lens of is this simple enough?
Can I explain it to my grandma in a sentence and she gets it?
Yeah, strip away as many layers as you can. And what you're left with is like the pure idea.
Yeah. And if you have a side project idea that you're not sure about, that like, I don't know, there's probably a simpler iteration of it somewhere. And you just got to peel back the onion layers until you find it.
Side projects we love that might inspire you. We always like looking at side projects because it could inspire you for side projects, but your brain works in such weird ways. It could also inspire you for like the next ad campaign or next project that you're working on.
Yeah, these are the ones that inspired us while we were in school and out of school.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to share them with you because, yeah, it'll spark something. I love this one. This one was presented to me at a Friday forum when I was at school. It's called Garbage Cubes. This guy named Justin went around and picked up trash and made that his side project. He put it in a little box and somehow made it novel. So there's like garbage from New York City, garbage from Dublin, garbage from Pride Parade. Like somehow he made the easiest thing in the world such a cool project, and the internet went crazy for it.
Claire's a Brand Center grad. She's a big runner, and she was like, how do I make this a side project? So she started running in the shapes of dicks, and it blew up on the internet. And like people are now doing similar things. They're
copying it.
Yeah. It's just like an amazing, she was already running.
Yeah.
She just kind of thought about how to make it a side project.
It's a great example of like, she was a creative, but like, this doesn't require any technical skill.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah. Writing on the side. So Maddie Trubinsky is another Brand Center grad who is an incredible writer, especially long form. And so she had just writing on the side tucked away and would submit it into platforms like McSweeney's and the New Yorker. And she would started getting a lot of articles in, and now she's about to come out with her first book.
This guy David's an ex-Wyden guy. This is for an XD out there who gets inspired by this. He's a big tinkerer. He likes to make like robots and code things. So he just made a flute out of a hot dog.
It's better than any ad campaign I'll ever do.
Yep.
Writing the Great Gatsby. This was by Kevin Fitz, another Brand Center grad who wanted to see what it would feel like to write the Great Gatsby. Like straight up word for word. What did it feel like to handwrite the whole thing from start to finish? So he did. And at the end of it, he was like, I don't know what to do with this. So then he just burned it, which is amazing and requires no skill.
Sebastian is doing this project right now. He's doing an olive advent calendar. So every single day of December up until Christmas, he's adding one olive to his mouth and then releasing the picture every single day. Really simple thing, but like I want to talk about this with him instead of like probably an ad campaign. I want to talk about it.
So simple,
Yeah.
so achievable.
How he fit 24 olives in his mouth.
Yeah. And then last but not least is Shelby Williamson, who is a strategy alum. She has this Instagram called Curled Up with a Good Book because she's such a big reader. She was always a big reader and just wanted a place to like put her books that she's read and what she thought about them. And so she just made an Instagram account for it. And it's great. It's so cool for everyone to just watch her and like what books she's liking. And she was already like a big theme, was already going to do that anyway.
Yeah. And she's gotten published, like her reviews have gotten published in magazines and stuff. Yeah, really, really cool and like inspiring. I mean, we want to hear about your side projects. We like hearing about them. We can offer you advice if that's what you're looking for. We can just be like a sounding board if you want to, just shoot us an email. Our emails are at the bottom here.
Yeah. Maybe we can help you make it simpler or talk to you about your next steps. We know how to do a lot of execution really quickly.
If you have a sweater vest and you want to be a part of our project
Today?
today, and possibly be in a book that we're going to make at the end of the year, wear it, take a picture of it, either send it to us on Instagram or send it to
email
our
it to us. It
Yeah.
would be so cool to like just to have you guys participate if you want. But yeah, that's side projects. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Can we open up to questions?
Let's do it.
So feel free to just unmute or put any questions in the chat. You already had quite a bit of chatter in the chat.
Oh, okay. Should we look at the chat?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Maybe,
It might be easier for people to just shout out questions.
or like raise your hand. Like there's like a raise hand feature, I think, on here, right?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hi, you guys have amazing energy, by the way. And if I had a sweater vest, I would totally be part of this. I'm kind of upset that I don't right now. My question is, when you guys kind of got started with this, how did you build out, like, if your idea kind of, you need to get people like on board with it, but you don't yet have like a proof of concept. You don't yet have an Instagram page with like, things you've done in the past. Like, how do you kind of like pitch yourself in order to like kind of get things going when you don't have anything yet?
Like pitch yourself to who?
Well, like if you need to, for example, like if you're trying to, for example, let's take the idea that you gave us with working with local restaurants. Let's say that idea required, kind of planning ahead and building contacts with these people who own the restaurants because somehow you needed to have like this connection with them. So how would you like kind of like take steps to kind of build those relationships if you don't yet have like hey, like this is the work that I've done. It works. Like you can trust me.
I see. Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say there's a couple ways to go about this. One, you can just start, like we said. Like you might think that you need to like email the restaurants and like ask for permission and be all this, you know, do all this stuff. In reality, if you just start and go and be like, I'm doing this project, I love your restaurant, I wanted to put you on, people are rooting for you.
Yeah.
People want, they're like, wow, cool. Like people love this kind of stuff.
It's also like a nod to how simple can you get an idea to where a person can understand it in 5 seconds.
And a lot of it is also just practically emailing. We made like email templates to
Mhm.
kind of like make the process just so we didn't have to start over for every project. We made an email template that explained it, and we would send a lot of those, or call and just be like, hey, we've had so many random conversations with people of like, we're doing this project, and they're like, oh, that's crazy. And we're like, yeah, can we go horseback riding on this day? It has to be on this day. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. We want to celebrate with you. Like, just know that people are rooting for you.
Yeah.
I think that's the big takeaway.
That's cool. That's helpful. It's inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else?
I had a question about Everyday Holiday. So I was wondering kind of if you had to sum up the experience of what it kind of brought to you or how it changed you, what would you say? Like, did it make you more brave? Did it bring you closer in your relationship? Because it's like you're spending all this time together. And are you going to continue like some part of it into 2022 or yeah, I guess I'm just curious.
Thanks for that. That's a great question. Thanks. I know one thing that I feel like I've learned that I've said consistently, which is you have more time in the day than you think you do. I think everybody likes to say, you know, we don't have enough time in the day. Like there's just not enough time. I'm telling you, you do. It's all about that first tip of just go after it, make it happen, just do it, rip off the Band-Aid, get it done. Because I used to kind of always be like really frantic about everything I felt like I need to get done. And now I'm like, wow, if I did this, there's time for anything.
Yeah. What else have we learned or takeaway? Well, we're near the end, so we are exhausted.
We're exhausted.
We're tired. And like in advertising in this industry, the busy months, I think no matter what agency you work at, the busy months are
Often.
October, November, December.
Yeah.
Those are going to be the busiest months because all the clients have money to spend. So like recently, you know, we're working later than we usually do, and we still have to post it. Yeah, we have to keep the drive up.
Yeah, I definitely think it's been cool for us because we're partners, but now we're also creative partners in a way, which has been really cool because we also work at the same place. And that's been a really cool side of our relationship to discover.
It's also, I've had to grow in terms of like my like design skills. Like for example, I don't like using cameras. I've never found joy in them. And that's possibly because I'm intimidated by them. There's so many buttons and all sorts of stuff like that. And I've had to use it, and now I know how to use one. So we're like, we've gotten skills.
Yeah, we do a
from
write-up
this.
every single day, just like a funny, almost like not like a headline, but kind of like what we did that day. So every single night for a year, we've been doing a write-up, and I feel like that's been a really great writing exercise of like bouncing off of each other and being like figuring it out.
We had another question in the chat. Let's see. Have you ever found a date that didn't have a holiday? No. There's at least 5 holidays per every single day, probably.
Every day has a holiday.
Yeah, every single day has one.
But thank you for that question, Annie. That was a great one.
On the flip side, have y'all gotten sick of each other at any point since everything overlaps? Okay, so we get mad at each other weirdly on like the simplest celebrations. The iconic one in our project is Grilled Cheese Day.
We got into a huge fight,
and we journal about it too. We're like, I got in a huge fight because she thinks she knows how to grill a grilled cheese, but she bought the wrong cheese, and like we got in a huge thing.
I got vegan cheese and it wouldn't melt. It was awful.
Yeah, but we always make up, and
Yeah, that's a good question. Who else?
There's also a question from Emily. She can't unmute, but she just wants to know, how do you find the time and money to do this every day with your full-time jobs?
Well, you're less poor when you have a job.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
So you'll have more money because you're going to be working.
But a lot of it isn't like spending extra money as much as it is like, okay, we're rerouting funds to this. So like, I probably wouldn't have ever wanted to buy a fruitcake, but for dinner, I guess we're having a fruitcake because it's fruitcake day.
Yeah. And weirdly, like without COVID, some of this stuff wouldn't be possible. So like gyms were closed. We're in Oakland. So like gyms weren't really a thing. So we're saving money on not going to a gym because we can't go to a gym.
Yeah. And then in terms of finding time, it's really about making time. It's just a non-negotiable, I think. Like, it's not a question of whether or not we have time. Like, we're making time, it's happening. It's like a mindset that you bring to your project of, I'm doing it. I'm not going to let myself down. There's no way we're ever going to let ourselves down and skip a holiday. Like, the pain of that would be so much worse than being a little extra tired.
Yeah. Oh, and to answer that question, that was, I think it was like a 3-parter question that we didn't get to the third part in terms of next year.
Oh yeah.
We are not going to be celebrating every single day next year. We're going to have our lives back. We've missed certain things like camping and just all sort of like hanging with friends. Like sometimes we couldn't do that.
But there's some stuff that we definitely want to continue. Like, we volunteered at a like food bank last week.
Yeah, it was great.
Which I've always been like, oh, that would be cool to do. I've never actually had done it, but for Giving Tuesday, we were like, all right, let's do it. Let's go to this food bank and like help make meals. And we did it, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
and
so we'll
I'm
carry that over.
Totally want to do that in 2022.
Yeah, and I guess so we won't be celebrating next year, but we're gonna try to. We have other like content, like we have our top favorite food holidays, our top favorite this, our top favorite this, whatever. And then we're gonna try to make it into a book and pitch it to a streaming platform.
Yeah, there's still a lot of other like other little pieces of content or like mini projects within the project that we're gonna still be putting out.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, we are gonna try and pitch it to like a streaming platform and get a book deal and stuff. So.
Have you ever left work early to do a holiday celebration?
Absolutely.
Yes, and that wouldn't be possible without COVID because we're working from home. So like no one knows that we're leaving for an hour. We're going to lunch, but we're actually going to like the beehives.
Yeah, it also wouldn't be possible without having our boss, Eric. Maybe you guys have gotten the chance to meet Eric. He's really supportive of our project and thinks it's awesome and trusts us enough to be like, I know you're going to get your work done. I know it's going to be good. You always deliver. So go off and do your thing, which is such a gift.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
It wouldn't have been possible without Eric being so chill. What was your overall favorite holiday?
May Day was great. We talked about that one. Burger Day.
Weirdly, we had like the best burger.
Yeah, I had the best burger I've ever had in my life.
I think May Day for me, the one where we went to the commune, that was so mind-blowing. Like to just be plunged into a world of people who think we're crazy because they're like, you guys work 9 to 5 every day? We were like, yes. They were like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
It was so like, it's reframed what weird is. Like there's no such thing. There's so many subcultures and cultures and yeah, it's been really cool.
Did we name our adopted kitten Holiday? No, we initially named her Echo because we were really big into Greek mythology. But she lived as Echo for a month, and then we were like, all right, we're gonna rename you because it's not sticking.
It didn't stick.
And so we named her Bird now. Bird stuck.
She loves birds. That's all she does all day. She's somewhere around here. Anything else? Feel free to write them in the chat. Since you're so close to being finished, have you thought about another side project?
No.
No.
we're gonna take at least the first 6 months.
I'm trying to go to like Mexico and not think for a month.
Yeah. Thinking your early advice about quitting if you're not feeling it. Have either of you ever had a project that you decided to drop? What was the thing that made you decide to quit the project?
Absolutely. I have.
Okay.
100%. Because the idea of working on it felt dreadful. That's when you know. When you're dreading it, it's done. Let it go. RIP.
You can finish like the thing to finish the little thing that you're doing if it doesn't take a lot of brain power, I guess. But like,
Yeah, you know the feeling. You often don't want to admit it because you're like, no, I've told everyone I'm doing this side project. I have to finish it. You don't. You just don't. And those skills and those things, experience that you picked up on the way are going to apply later.
did you ever get close to missing a holiday?
Yes.
Things get canceled all the time, and it is, the weather doesn't work with us.
Yeah,
We
the
felt
weather's tough. One time we realized that at 11 p.m. the night before that we got the holiday wrong. That it actually
for the next day.
it was for National Ford Mustang Day, right?
Yeah, we realized at 11 p.m. that tomorrow's holiday actually got moved.
They moved it this year to a different day.
Yeah.
So it was like 11 p.m. and we were like, oh my God.
Yeah, what are we
had
gonna
to
do tomorrow?
Scramble. It was Auctioneer's Day that got moved. And then we were like, okay, it's also Ford Mustang Day tomorrow. So we were like searching and trying like to figure out how to rent a Mustang, like all this stuff. And then there actually ended up being a Ford Mustang rally of people who owned them like an hour away from us.
And we tried to buy tickets on Facebook and got scammed 3 times, and then just
It was-
decided to drive and just show up and see if we could get in, and we got in.
Yeah.
And another one that was crazy was International Podcast Day. We wanted to get on a podcast or meet someone that has like a successful podcast. And we reached out to Ashley actually
Yeah.
to see if any Brand Center alums have any podcasts. And she gave us a list of contacts, and none of them got back to us until the night before International
This
Podcast
is for
Day.
morning show hosts day.
Was it morning
Yeah,
show?
not podcast.
Yeah, it was for
day.
morning show hosts day. We wanted to meet a morning show host.
Yeah.
And the night before, one of the alums got back to us and
Like
was-
literally 8 p.m. We're supposed to celebrate the next day. We have nothing.
yeah. And the alum got back to us and said, hey, yeah, I work at NPR. I work closely with Rachel Martin, who's like she's interviewed like Biden and stuff like that.
She's a legit morning show host. And he was like, we love your project. She's down to meet with you.
Tomorrow morning at
Tomorrow
like 7
morning.
a.m. or something.
So we got on a Zoom and just like talked to Rachel Martin about our project for a while.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was wild. What's the furthest distance you've traveled for a holiday celebration? I think the furthest distance was for National Be a Kid Again Day. We flew back to
Your childhood
my
home.
childhood home.
Yeah.
And I'm actually from Richmond, Virginia. So it was quite a flight for us. But yeah, that was a fun one.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Really have time for one or two more. Anything just about like side projects, or it doesn't even have to be about side projects. It could be about,
Yeah, whatever.
advertising. We're in it. Can you show the plushie again? That made me really happy.
Oh, yeah.
This is Cal the calendar for National Mascot Day. We made a bunch of stickers and stuff too. I drew it like on my iPad. I just drew this like little figure, and Jason was like, that is so cute. That should be our mascot. So yeah, fun.
How was leaving Richmond?
How was leaving Richmond after being here for so long?
First of all, there's some good Richmond ad agencies.
There are some fantastic places to work in Richmond.
Yeah. So if you're
Richmond
thinking
is
about staying,
awesome.
okay.
It was good. I love the West Coast. I just know I've always wanted to be on the West Coast, so it wasn't too bad. And I love having my family there, so I get to come back and be there a lot.
Mitchell, you look like you're in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish. As I lived in Virginia basically my entire life, it'd be nice to get out there.
Me too. I lived in Virginia Beach all growing up and went to school there and everything.
Yeah.
I'm from Hanover. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. One more question.
Yeah,
Who's-
$7
Yeah.
Are there any other goals for the side hustles in the learning program? Have to learn something new. Oh, interesting. Look at this one. He's getting distracted by all the 757s in the
Sorry.
chat.
Yeah.
Are there other goals for the side hustle, such as learning a new program? Have you developed side hustles in the past to learn something new? That's cool.
There was I remember when I was in Brand Center, there was a big push for all the art directors to learn like 3D programs like Cinema 4D. And it was just cool to learn, and the program was accessible to us. And I remember just to learn it, I would take a bunch of tutorials, which wasn't a side project yet. And then I'd learn something cool in the tutorial, and I would be like, oh, I just want to, do this tutorial over and over again, make it more of like a quantity thing, because that kind of turns into a side project if you do something over and over again. And I would make these dancing people and put them on like buildings, and I would composite them into like things. So that was like a new skill that I learned, and I was just excited to practice the skill, and that turned into a side project.
But that's also a great question, because if there is something you want to learn how to do, that's such a great parlay into a side project. Like, you want to learn how to play the flute, like, cool, document it, make that your side project. The first year creative thinking class is just wrapping up a semester-long side hustle project, and they're killing it. So thank you for this end of semester inspiration for us all. Oh, good, you're welcome. Creative thinking was so hard.
Awesome. I think that is a great place to wrap. Thank you both so much for coming back and joining us. This was awesome. And thank you all for coming. If you are part of the post-forum chat, I'm going to open the breakout room right now. And if not, have a wonderful Friday.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming. Email us, reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye.